Lieutenant Governor. She has another week to contest hers, right?
That's exactly right.
All right, Mike Lowe in the newsroom. Thank you.
They are some of the most dramatic images we have brought you in recent years. Our exclusive ride-along with Milwaukee police as they rush to save Officer Frank Vertoshnik's life on Christmas night. But it begged the question, what does it take to pull off that level of high-pressure driving without a moment of hesitation? Fox 6's Henry Rossoff was with police that night. He found those abilities are taught to officers from the very start.
Christmas night,
Medical for a 35-year-old white male.
2011. An ambulance races through town. Milwaukee police officer Frank Vertoshnik
Severe injury to his face.
clings to life inside.
There was an ungodly amount of blood.
He's just been struck while standing outside his squad car by a hit-and-run driver.
It looked like one of the worst things that I'd ever seen.
That night, we're with two of Vertoshnik's fellow officers helping rush him to the hospital. The mission is a high-risk, high-speed game of leapfrog across Milwaukee. Squads seal off cross streets.
Clear on the right.
The medical unit buzzes by.
Let's go.
Police race in front and do it again. Success will be measured with an officer's life.
The bottom line is you focus on the mission.
So engines roar, adrenaline soars,
It actually helps. It makes you sharper at what you do.
and training takes over.
I honestly believe that anybody that trains properly is going to be able to do the things that are necessary in a situation like that.
It's at the safe, secure, and sometimes snowy Milwaukee Mile,
3-9 hand position.
where cadets first figure out how to push their police cars during emergency vehicle operations class.
You got turning maneuvers,
25.
backing maneuvers,
Northbound on 83rd Street.
parking maneuvers,
Correction, South 84th Street.
higher speed cornering maneuvers.
Traveling at a high rate of speed.
What we're trying to do is to get these officers to understand the limits of their own driving ability and the limits of a vehicle.
On this day, they're practicing pursuits.
We try to expose them to the various techniques that they're going to have to use on the street when they drive a vehicle in an emergency situation.
Training Academy Director Lieutenant Conrad Ellenberger says the lessons learned by recruits are essentially the same,
Maroon Crown Victoria.
whether they're stopping a red getaway car
Vehicle refusing to stop.
or escorting an ambulance.
So basically we build upon everything. They learn how to do things here in training on a closed course.
And halfway through the day, it's recruit officer Dustin McGinnis's turn. He catches a call.
For an armed robbery.
McGinnis's trainer, Sergeant Tony Riley, rides shotgun.
Is this a high priority or a low priority call?
High priority.
So how do we want to respond?
Lights and sirens.
The detective in the car they're chasing
We are in pursuit.
has much more high-pressure driving experience than McGinnis. It's a good test for the recruit.
What we stress here is that, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
One suspect in the vehicle.
And that policy builds the basics.
So they're ready to go out on field training where they actually work with another officer, a field training officer, who will have them operate the squad on the street in real life conditions.
Then these trainees will take what they're taught with them as full officers.
Throughout your career, you build your base of knowledge regarding emergency vehicle operations.
Easy does it, easy does it.
Every patrol assignment, every traffic stop, every pursuit will help hone their skills.
Are we close?
Until one day, when everything will be on the line.
That's why we train these officers as best we can so that they can fall back on their training and they do the right things when necessary.
Like on Christmas. As Vertoshnik's caravan hits the highway, squads become fullbacks blocking for the medical unit. Finally, the gravely injured officer reaches Frederick Hospital. A trip that would take you and me 30 minutes takes 10.
And all it employs is basic emergency vehicle operation skills.
The safe and successful escort mission is the life-saving edge Vertoshnik needs to be out and about 1 month later.
Thank you for your dedicated service. You have our appreciation and our gratitude.
Still, any officer will tell you what they did that night is part of the job. Born from the basics built at the Milwaukee Mile and practiced, then perfected on the city streets to bring a battered and bruised but alive officer the Christmas miracle he deserves.
Police officers do have to go back periodically for retraining just to stay current on the latest laws and techniques. And it should also be noted it takes a very strong person from a mental perspective to do what those officers did that night, then set emotion aside, go back onto the streets and look for the driver that hit Vertoshnik. That's what many of them were told to do right after the escort mission. Of course, a few days later, they caught 19-year-old Juan Alvarado hiding in Chicago. His next court date is in mid-March. Ted Mary.
So many layers, to this story. The one thing I was thinking is you start your shift at 2 or 3. Now, this happened later. Who knows what happened before that? You have to say, this has been a tough day. It's about to get tougher. Let's kick into gear.
And when they got the order over the radio, we were talking to them, kind of debriefing right parked outside the hospital. And they got that order over the radio. And there was this great quote we just didn't have time for. It said, well, I guess we got to suck it up and just go do the rest of our job.
Oof. Yeah.
No ordinary day. They say, I hate the term routine traffic stop, because there is no such thing.
Absolutely.
And we just saw that. But absolutely.
Yeah, that was a good report. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate it.
It was bright, it was sunny, but it was pretty windy out there.
Yeah, Vince is here with your work week forecast.
Yeah, Mary and Ted, the wind is still howling a bit tonight, not as strong as earlier. Good looking Monday coming up, but rain and snow return to our forecast as soon as Tuesday.